America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
Let's be honest here. He's not wrong. And I can't wait for the Make America hats to come out soon. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski here of WeAreChange.org. And oh boy, do we have some absolutely shocking bombshell news dropping today. This as, of course, the story of the decade that the corporate media establishment elites want censored has just gotten a new twist. Just when you thought the very powerful couldn't be more in your face, more despicable, here they are today with some shocking revelations that, of course, directly point to finger at one of the most powerful political dynasties in the United States. Lots of crazy stuff. We're going to be talking about it as much as we can, all here on this independent media broadcast, as well as, of course, the latest updates surrounding all the news happening today that, of course, is relevant. One of the biggest stories that we're finding out today that Elon Musk is moving forward in his process of buying Twitter, as the board of that company just unanimously endorsed Elon Musk with his takeover bid. This is major news highlighting potential big changes coming to the social media platform, as of course Elon Musk is promising free speech, debate, open and honest conversation, which of course will be a big reality check to the wokeness that has prevailed and has ruled with an iron, limp-wristed fist. This, as almost everything is going woke now, as promoted by the ESG score, which Elon Musk has been a critic of. It's everywhere, in TV series, in movies, grocery stores, big banks, criminal corporate institutions, Goldman Sachs, to Walmart, to children's kindergarten schools, to now even U.S. Army training schools that are teaching their cadets critical race theory. Yes, the U.S. Army has introduced critical race theory to West Point cadets. Woke lessons that, of course, ask cadets to confront their whiteness and to see the true evils of the way that they were born, which, according to the theory, is bad. Yeah, you could take your racism and shove it, but as the U.S. military becomes more woke, other countries and regimes are starting to get a lot tougher, especially the people in Ukraine that have been going through a very large and vast proxy conflict that is happening right now between them, the United States, and of course Russia. Their citizens, their loved one, their soldiers are paying the ultimate price. This, as just moments ago, we are finding out that the government of Ukraine just banned the political opposition party in the country. This, of course, is going to be giving Vladimir Zelensky and his independent political party the ability to run unopposed. This, as the president of Ukraine has been very busy meeting a lot of people, including, very oddly, Ben Stiller, of all people, in a very publicized PR meeting, which, according to Ben Stiller, was used as an opportunity to bring attention to the humanitarian situation unfolding in Ukraine right now. Another politician who just visited Ukraine in order to get political brownie points is, of course, Merrick Garland, the U.S. Attorney General, who just made an unannounced trip to Ukraine, leaving one commentator saying, quote, "Why is he there? Are the Russians taunting Ukrainian school board members?" And of course, all of this is happening as the battles are intensifying, especially in the Donbass region of Ukraine, where life loss has significantly increased over the last few days. This as an ex-SAS chief and now a current general of the United Kingdom, Adrian Bradshaw, just released public comments saying that, quote, "The United Kingdom must stop Putin into getting an opening to a widen war." This, as of course many people fear, as I've been warning about myself, that this possibility in Ukraine could soon, of course, escalate and involve other countries. This, as just, of course, recently, Lithuania decided to partly blockade Kaliningrad, a Russian territory, which the Russians are saying publicly they consider a, quote, provocative measure that is openly hostile, and warning that they soon may take action in order to protect their national interests. Now, a lot of supplies to Kaliningrad are delivered through, of course, a rail system and a gas pipeline system through Lithuania. Lithuania now is banning their rail transit system from operating to Kaliningrad, which essentially is cutting it off from the rest of its main supply chain. A lot of people have started to panic buy in Kaliningrad, as of course there's a big prospect of this entire proxy conflict expanding and growing from here. Will Russia retaliate? Will Lithuania stop the blockade? Well, time will only tell, as of course we're keeping a very close eye on this particular story, as again, a lot of the reporting surrounding this specific proxy conflict has been absolutely atrocious. There's been propaganda from all different sides. There's been a lot of disinformation, just a lot of straight up propaganda. There's some people saying that Russia is collapsing and soon will fall. This as we're also finding out that the ruble just hit a 7-year high against the US dollar. What's really going on here? Who really knows? We do our best to try to make sense of it. But I think if you look at our reporting throughout the last few years, we have been warning about this specific problem escalating, and we're here today with it escalating and most likely going to be escalating from here. In my opinion, there's no winners of war, and truly, this is a travesty of injustice that I think we should be pouring more time and effort into stopping and de-escalating as fast as we can. Life is precious, and we definitely understand that here at We Are Change. Of course, today is the 1-year anniversary that we lost a We Are Change Colorado member that was integral to the organization in Colorado, but also Johnny was an incredible human being, a very important member of his community. He did a lot of incredible things, dedicating his time towards helping the people around him. And today we try to celebrate and remember his life, as of course he died 1 year ago today after being shot in the back by the Colorado Arvada Police Department, even though he did not match the description of the shooter that the police were responding to. Now again, I need to clarify what happened here. Johnny was just hanging out with his friend when, of course, he heard shots. Shots from a lunatic, crazy person that literally was committing a mass shooting, trying to hurt as many people as he could, as this crazy person assassinated a police officer and planned on killing as many people as he could that particular day. Johnny responded to the gunshots, to a police officer being assassinated, and he essentially saved the lives, not only of people in that community, but specifically police officers, by intervening and taking down this crazy person and this lunatic that was on a rampage shooting people, specifically cops. Johnny stopped this cop killer, and then moments later, cops arrived on the scene and shot Johnny in the back. The police officer who committed this crime has not been held accountable for his egregious mistake. There are still a lot of questions that I personally have here, but regardless of that, you guys should know who Johnny was, since of course he was an incredible human being from all the accounts that I'm hearing from him. And then of course I knew him in passing, but from all the accounts that I'm getting from the We Are Change Colorado members, he was truly an extremely important community member and member of We Are Change that is not just worth noting, but aspiring to. He was a great human being, and he will definitely be missed. Now, if you consider what happened to Johnny, and now the latest information that we're getting from Uvalde, where we're finding out today that the head of the Texas State Police just said that the horrible events there could have been stopped in 3 minutes, according to his own personal investigation and accounts of those events. This, as we're finding out that police officers waited 58 minutes with multiple officers, automatic rifles, ballistic shields, trainings for this exact situation days ago, and yet they still cowardly hid for 58 minutes. Again, I got a lot more to say about this particular event and what the head of the Texas State Police said. And of course, I'm going to be talking about that, since this is not going to be a very family-friendly video, later on today on LukeUncensored.com. Lots of bombshells, lots of important takeaways. The Uvalde police are acting like criminal thugs that are lying through their teeth, hiring private law firms. Again, I'm just going to save it because there's a lot of things I want to say here that I just cannot share on this particular platform. LukeUncensored.com doing another video later on today about this specific topic. If you haven't signed up yet, sign up right now. Click the link down in the description below and join us as an official member of LukeUncensored.com, where, of course, we are going to be working together in many different ways. We got a chat, we got a forum, we got master classes. We're going to, of course, be building up and ramping up our own platform more and more by the day. Hope to see you there later on today. Right after this video, watch the next video on LukeUncensored.com. Now, I'm still not done here because there still is a major, huge story. Again, just when you think the news can't get any crazier, here we are today with, of course, the story of the decade. The story of course, Epstein and Maxwell, that for over 30 years we know that that's documented. There's records showing that for over 30 years. Could have been a lot longer. Could have been other players before this. Could have been 50 years. Could have been from the very beginning of one particular intelligence agency. Who knows? But documented for over 30 years. Two monsters, Mr. Epstein and Mrs. Maxwell, ran an international trafficking and extortion operation, moving thousands of children to ruling elites so they could do whatever they wanted to them, and they did horrible things that we can't mention on this particular broadcast. A lot of the key players in this extortion racket have been eliminated, but there, of course, is still one key player, Ghislaine Maxwell, that is facing sentencing for her crimes for providing a service that, according to the U.S. government, didn't have any clients. So why was she found guilty if she was providing a service that there's no client list to? Well, of course, there's a client list. The DOJ has it. They haven't leaked it. They do leak a lot of public information to the media, but for some reason, they haven't leaked the information of very powerful politicians, corporate leaders, tech Silicon Valley heads, bankers, and billionaires that, of course, were able to get children and do whatever they wanted with them. Of course, a lot of these people were monsters. They acted in very satanic ways. Don't believe me? Do your own research. Do your own homework. But now Maxwell seems like she is the only public figure still in this game that, of course, still is a liability to the larger extortion operation that was happening. Ghislaine Maxwell was also sent to a jail that's known for its corruption. She has already, according to the records, filed more than 100 complaints over jail conditions, complaining about, quote, excessive body cavity searches, invasive shower surveillance, and she's also complaining about death threats that she is getting inside of the jail. As according to ABC News 7, Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers are saying that a cellmate was offered money multiple times in order to take out Ghislaine Maxwell. Yes, Maxwell lawyers are claiming now that Maxwell's cellmates are being offered a lot of money in order to take her out and assassinate her. This, as according to the Daily Mail, there was already an attempt on her life, as her lawyers are also filing paperwork saying that one of the female inmates in the same housing unit as Miss Maxwell told 3 other inmates that she was offered money to take out Maxwell, as of course she, quote, planned to strangle her in her sleep, which of course would have made it look like it was a suicide. Now, who made this offer? Who is organizing this larger plot? Well, let's be honest here. Probably the same individuals that took out Epstein and took out Jean-Luc Bernet, another major player in this entire extortion racket. Jean-Luc Bernet, by the way, was providing Epstein with thousands of underage children to him. And of course, he was another major player in this entire operation that also mysteriously just committed suicide inside of a French jail where the cell cameras were not working. Same story with, of course, Jeffrey Epstein, and same story most likely soon with Miss Maxwell, whose family is even coming out and saying that they fear for her safety. Maxwell's brother came out publicly and said, look what happened to Epstein. Look what happened to Jean-Luc Bernet. Look at the circumstances of coincidences, of accidents. Look at the silencing of these key players that have a lot of dirt on very powerful people. And, of course, you have here a major bombshell story that deserves to be talked about, because whether you like Ghislaine Maxwell or not, she knows a lot about very powerful individuals, and she knows that something is up here, as she, of course, publicly spoke through her brother that she believes that her previous partner, Mr. Epstein, was murdered inside of jail, which, of course, is the obvious conclusion that a lot of people have been making based on the evidence, as, of course, this person is heavily connected with the Clintons. Ghislaine Maxwell, by the way, still is bringing up how she helped launch the Clinton Global Initiative, how she was very close to Bill Clinton as a leverage talking point trying to lower her possible sentence for trafficking underage children. Again, the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, one of the weirdest, most bizarre trials in American history. We have someone that has been found guilty of trafficking children, even though there's officially no clients that they were trafficked to. That essentially is bonkers. It's essentially crazy. A lot of very important documents were sealed here by the judge, who said that they were too salacious for the general public to even understand. And I think it's fair to say that Ghislaine Maxwell is a targeted individual who is not long for this world. Again, her story, her father's story is with connections to intelligence agencies, especially to the ones in Russia and Israel and the United States, are absolutely bonkers. Now, of course, she went through a childhood of neglect and abuse, which again, psychologically does explain why she was an abuser herself. She's trying to argue that she should just spend 4 years in jail. Is she telling the truth here? Well, she's willing to testify under oath that she is. And I think with the overwhelming coincidences surrounding this particular case, we have to understand that this person knows a lot that very powerful people don't want you finding out about. Again, lots of sick, sinister stuff happening behind the scenes, and this is only scratching the surface. What's happening even behind the curtains is probably even more crazy, more salacious, more bonkers than what we just covered in today's broadcast. This is a crazy story, a story that needs to get out there to the general public, because the more it's censored, the more it's downranked in the algorithm, which this video will be. Again, this video is not going to be doing well probably on YouTube, because YouTube's going to be like, oh, censor this. This video could only strive, this video could only get out there if you yourself get involved and share it and start the conversations with your friends, family, loved ones, people in your community, people next to you, your neighbors. It doesn't matter. Starting the conversation is important. And this is an extremely important one since, of course, thousands of children have yet to receive any legitimate form of justice surrounding this egregious, crazy case where the government for over 30 years used your tax dollars to do unspeakable things to small children. This is the craziest, biggest story that brings together the left and the right. This is a story that we all need to be talking about right now more than ever. Start that conversation before it's too late. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. This is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for a lot more here on wearechange.org.